It's been a while since we reviewed a Dying Earth Dungeon Crawl Classics module, but I'm back. I've ran 3-4 more of these, and so I plan to do some more videos like this. This one that we're going to cover today is the Magnific Machinations at the Grand Exposition of Marvels. Hello everybody, Jordan here at the PH is Silent. We're going to talk about Dungeon Crawl Classics Dying Earth and the modules that come with it. This one is a level 3 adventure by Bob Brinkman and is kind of it's a small city that you get to visit and you're kind of piecing puzzles together. It's like a mystery. I enjoyed it overall, but I think it took a little more prep than normal, and it took a little bit of nudging to get my players to go into the right direction. So because this is easier to talk about over on the desktop with the PDF rather than flipping through it like this, we're going to go do that. So let's jump over to that screen. All right, and hello everybody. Welcome back to Dungeon Crawl Classics Dying Earth. If you're new to Dungeon Crawl Classics, I've got videos somewhere. You can probably click in the description or things like that. Or if you are curious about these modules that I'm running, specifically when the Dying Earth came out for as a setting for Dungeon Crawl Classics, there were a handful of Dying Earth inspired adventures that came out, and a lot of them deal with magicians and magic and fun things like that. And so I decided I'm going to play through all of them. That's something I want to do. And I've gotten through most of them now. My Dungeon Crawl Classics Dying Earth game has since concluded, but I'm going to retroactively go back and kind of talk about these. And if you're curious, I'll put a playlist down below where you can look at the other modules of the Dying Earth that I've ran and my thoughts on them. But today, level 3 adventure for Magnific Machinations at the Grand Exposition of Marvels. It's probably not machinations. It's probably machinations. Those Vancian words, guys. Machination. I was right. So this level 3 adventure kind of revolves around this crystal up here at the corner. So there is a crystal, a gem of sorts that allows someone who is magically inclined to reanimate creatures or to animate vat things, or in the case of the weird things that go on in this adventure, animate inanimate objects. This is I always kind of want to say Sandbox, and I'm going to probably heavily spoil this. If you are interested in playing in it, then you probably shouldn't watch this video, but if you're interested in running it, then that's probably why you're subscribed to my channel, because you like Dungeon Crawl Classics. So with this, we have our general adventure background and things like that, and the people involved, the NPCs here, all of the different NPCs, and there are a lot of them to keep track of. And then a Vancian glossary, which kind of tells us, like, what do these made-up words actually mean? And this is the part of the video where you stop and you say, Jordan, all words are made up. And I say, you're right, but these are more difficult. So one of the greatest wizards in history, this like wonderful wizard magician, it says, surviving the War of the Wizards and Witches was way back in the day. His pinnacle of achievement was creating the Crystal of Siz, which is an arcane artifact of power that allowed for the creation of vat things like never seen before. Like, you can just make them. And he claimed that it was due to his gifted children that he was able to create such marvels and wrest knowledge of strange spells from the void. So upon his disappearance, the Crystal of Siz was the focus of numerous reality-bending battles before it was lost to history. It's just gone somewhere. It was crafted by a wizard named Teus Triviolus, and it is capable of bestowing animation upon otherwise inanimate objects, as well as greatly enhancing the creation of vat things. It is powerful enough that it warps already existing vat things, but unbeknownst to him, the crystal powers itself with the phlogistotic life force of living beings. So over the course of an eon, the crystal fed upon our wizard, leading to the wizard being absorbed into the crystal and his soul being devoured, and he's now gone forever. So that is like the way backstory. Now moving forward, another wizard named, I believe, Ashtar the Wizened, he discovered this crystal and started like tapping into the power, and he died mysteriously. We don't really know what's going on with him. And then on top of that, there is a magical expo going on in this town. So Hazradiel is now in the possession of the Crystal of Siz. He specifically wants the crystal back, and it's got to be on the DL. He at the magical expo, he was going to present the crystal and an animated sugar bowl that he somehow managed to figure out how the crystal worked. But he spread some rumors being like, I'm really awesome. And another wizard named Ashtar the Wizened sent his apprentice to go get it and take that away, who did. And then Ashtar was doing some magical experiments with it and died. That's kind of that is the long story that the players are trying to figure out through a lot of dialogue and chatting with NPCs and figuring out clues and acting on those clues. It is I would say a role play heavy adventure, because you are expected to ask questions and get clues and take an investment in the problem at hand. Now, my party, when we ran this, those players are very much just like, we just kind of want to fight something. So although this was not their favorite module, I think this has a lot of potential with the right group, where you will be able to basically, like, let's solve the puzzle. We'll have some little bit of exploration and stuff, but mostly it's going to be like a talk heavy kind of thing. I will say the charm person spell is, I feel like it's broken in Dungeon Crawl Classics, because with the correct upcast of that, my magician in the party was able to charm just about every NPC, who by the end of it, it's like, well, the charm lasts like a week and a half and they're only going to be there a week. So they got everybody to kind of help them all at once and divulge information. I was like, okay, that's keeping me on my toes. So the PCs arrive at the city for the Grand Exposition, the big Magic Expo, and there's a bunch of stuff going on. Nobody really knows of the Crystal of Siz except for the certain parties that are like looking for it. But there's also a bunch of witches in this place. So if we kind of look at, there's a map here. This is the city of Kurnif. And here's all the different places that you can go. There's the Hazradel's Maze, the Merchant's Guild. There's a warehouse. The Thirsty Otter Inn has a lot of things going on. Duke Orbal's Estate, Ashtar's Maze, and the Cobalt Witch's Camp and the market, I guess, like that. So there is a witch camp that's kind of outside the city that you run into first. And this is where I was talking about, you've got a mother maiden crone kind of situation, and they can give you information. I actually really like this scene as a whole. I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on with it. Unfortunately, my players kind of bypassed it by casting these charm spells, because they have all of these powers. They're level 3. Actually, they're pretty powerful for being level 3. And they were able to kind of bypass a lot of this. I might have read it wrong, and maybe they can't be charmed. I'm not really sure, but I was going through this trying to understand the expectation. But the idea is that you can kind of, if you're willing to give up stuff, you can get more information out of them. And so from my perspective, this is a way for, if your players are stumped, they can always go talk to the witches, and it's kind of like a divine way of getting the information that you need to get. So the first thing is going to the Maze of Hazradel, or Hazradiel. So Hazradiel, an aged magician, he's the one who lost the Crystal of Siz. He doesn't want people to know about it. He doesn't really not want you to know what it does. There's a lot of like these true or false statements right here that he asks various things. And so, yeah, you're trying to find the crystal before the actual magical expo, and you're trying to find out what happened to Ashtar. So you can go to the marketplace. this is just a lot. There's a lot of people that you can talk to. There is an interesting toy maker and a talking toy, which kind of goes to the cover. The cover seems really weird, but I think these are vat things. This is the magician. I think this is supposed to be the crystal. And then there is a section where you talk to a magical talking doll who actually can give you a lot of information. So another possible hook is that the Duke wants this magical expo to go off without a hitch. He doesn't want any fighting between the witches and the magicians. And so there's also like a, hey, we want to keep this on the down low. There's a whole area of the Thirsty Otter. And again, this is kind of a weird one to talk about because what you're doing is basically just going through and talking to all of the NPCs to gather information. They each have true and false statements, but mostly on the true side, you can get the full story by like figuring out certain things and exploring. And that's why I say it's kind of it really is a role play kind of, or at least from my perspective, it is a role play heavy module because you need to ask questions rather than just go like fetch quest, take the thing and go. So the big takeaway from this is that Ashtar Maze, this is kind of where the dungeon crawling aspects will begin. You're going to go into this area and kind of search through all of these and gather clues until you get to the very top where you have some destroyed vat thing creation vats and some active vat thing creation vats with the Crystal of Sizz there kind of powering and generating, creating these like mega vat things. And so that was the big final fight. I really liked that. As far as like the whole thing, I did enjoy, there were lots of areas where things were animated and coming to life. This was a fun one where there was an automaton band. These are all individual four automatons that have these different instruments, and they're going to play this music. And when they're activated, they play it, and it sonically blasts you back and hits you. And you have to like deal with this to move forward. It's not your traditional kind of I don't know. It doesn't feel like a traditional, like, and then goblins attack and we have like our regular rounds. This was a pseudo puzzle, whatever, but you could also attack. And my players ended up running from this, which I thought was fun. Like they were just like, I don't think we're going to survive. And so they like booked it out of there really, really fast. It was fun. Yeah, there's a weird creature here that was like released some magical experiment and it's out running around. So a lot of fun things like that. And if you want to, there was a, as you take the crystal after like winning the adventure, there was a Metroid style, oh no, the entire building's collapsing. You have this many rounds to get out of it. I ran it, but I kind of like, just kind of, I don't know, I didn't rely on this table as much as I should have, I suppose. But by the end, I knew I wanted to run more adventures. My players liked their characters. And so we kind of did like, you got to get out of here. And then the whole thing collapses down. And then they had to answer for themselves, which was really fun to be like, what did you do? And they opted to keep the crystal for quite a while until they realized that it probably would be better off not making the wizard who knew that they had it upset. So they ended up trading it for a lot of money, and then we continued on with our next one. Also in the back, there is a rumor and clue tracker. I ended up not using this because, like I said, my players kind of bypassed a lot of this with a massive charm person spell on everyone they knew. But if your characters want to play more by the rules, then this might work very well. But it is kind of fun to follow the ones that they have heard, and you can keep track of the ones that you have given them. I like that. And then there is a new spell in here, which is Ashitarch's Autophagic Animation. And so this spell allows you to animate inanimate objects, which is really fun. So on a 14 to 15, you animate a clay figure, and then the spirit of a deceased awakens the clay figure. It kind of gets higher and higher, and so you create these things. It was a fun spell that I actually didn't get to give them because they didn't find the spell book that I thought I had it in. Yeah, one of these days I want to take all of these spells from the various adventures and make my own spell book for Jordan's character whenever I get to play. Who knows? And so everybody, that was Magnific Machinations at the Grand Exposition of Marvels. Do you think you would run this? I think for a level 3 adventure, it's pretty solid, but you got to have that players invested who are really interested in this. I tried to kind of combine all of these different adventures that I've been running, and I ended up creating I haven't reviewed it yet, but there's one of the adventures, the Visp Hunt, has these 2 wizards in it, and I ended up using them as a baseline. So one of those wizards was the one that wanted the Crystal of Sizz and actually put these guys on the track to go find it. So if I was in a position to actually have them be like, hey, we want you to solve this murder more than we want you to find this magic item, I think they might have been more invested in finding all of the different rumors and trying to understand that. And that's hindsight. Hindsight's always like, I could have made it work if I did this, but now you can maybe benefit from my experience. I wish you the best. Thanks again, everybody. If you're interested in Dungeon Crawl Classics, I do have videos on that. If you're interested in the Dying Earth, I've got a lot of videos on that as well, specifically tied to Dungeon Crawl Classics, because I like the setting a lot for DCC. I think if I'm going to play in DCC, like if I was going to run a longer campaign, it would probably be with the Dying Earth. Although some of the mechanics get in the way a little bit. And that's for another video. But anyway, but thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't, I would encourage you to do so. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member or becoming a patron on Patreon. I value both of those so, so much. Keep the lights on over here. And as always, I will see you guys on my next Dying Earth review. Take care.